Controlling people. Most people agree that you generally can't help who you fall in love with, right? But in some circumstances, you might wish that weren't the case because you want to have control over your own self. But what if somebody else has control over you? What do you do then? Maybe you love someone who doesn't really feel the same way about you. The longing that accompanies maybe one-sided feelings and love can affect emotional well-being. But it can cause a lot of discomfort as well. So we all know what that feels like, especially if you've been in a relationship for over a year. And let me tell you something, not a healthy relationship. Perhaps you love somebody continually that demonstrated that they don't have your best interest at heart. This is why we're here today. Maybe you and the partner, right, each loved each other intensely, but the difference is to sustain a lasting partnership was non-existent. So regardless of the situation, let's start there. Love is a complicated emotion. And even when it's clear that a relationship isn't doing anybody a favor, then it is impossible to simply turn off your feelings. It doesn't happen like that. So these are the tips that I'm going to give you today. And it's hopefully going to help you start the process of moving forward. Now, everyone, including me, has been in tight situations. And, but of course, keeping on track and staying on track with someone that is truly out to hurt you, getting away from them ASAP is extremely important. You have to first come to grips with the fact of what is really happening. Optimism isn't a bad trait. In fact, the ability to have hope in difficult and painful situations, typically considered as bad, is a sign of strength. It really is. Think about it. When it comes to struggling relationships, it's more helpful to consider the present opposed to reality than the future you imagine. Think about it. Now, the person you love may not feel the same way about you, right? Or maybe you feel wildly in love during intimate moments, like spending the rest of your life and time together, disagreeing over just about anything and everything. You still stay because you think that that's a part of it. Do you know that a controlling person often won't accept healthy boundaries and will try to persuade or pressure you into changing your mind each time? If you've said you can't meet up for the weekend, for instance, and they show up uninvited to your house, or they'll refuse to let you leave a party early even after saying you feel sick. Yes, these are the ones that people actually fall in love with. And these are the ones that I'm talking about today. Controlling behavior comes from just about anyone in your life. It could be your boss, a family member, a friend, or even your partner. Controlling people are all around us. We most commonly hear about controlling husbands and controlling relationships. Although controlling behavior can feel extra traumatic in romantic, specifically, relationships, Any person in your life can control you in a harmful way. Let's talk about that. And it could be a man or a woman. So it is a mark of courage to recognize the controlling behavior first, and in an act of bravery to respond appropriately. And that is how I feel today. What is a controlling behavior? I'll tell you what a controlling behavior is. Controlling behavior is when one person expects, compels, or requires others to cater to their own needs, even at others' expense. The controlling person targets an individual and dominates them in an unhealthy, self-serving manner. I hope you got that. Now, this is what I grew up with. My mother made sure we never fell victim to controlling people. But there were times we were hard-headed. Sometimes you got to just check yourself and remember that controlling people often prey upon those that are closest to them, taking advantage of others' introversion, submissive tendencies, or simple good faith. You might just be a great person, and they see that. Who falls victim to controlling people? It can happen to anybody. I always say anybody can be con, but controlling people often prey, listen to this, they often prey upon those they're closest to, taking advantage of others. And I'll say it again, you can have good faith, and they coming for you. They coming for you. Being manipulated, used, or controlled by another person can lead to a number of harmful effects. Some may be so subtle that you don't even realize until you're cemented into a toxic, controlling relationship with a friend, a co-worker, or a partner. So controlling people tend to prey on the kindness of a person, and that's the worst. To me, it's like, oh my goodness, how could you even look at a gentle person and affect them that way? Are all consuming, and it's shameful to be controlled. It is, but guess what? Remember, it is not your fault. Not your fault. Controlling people tend to prey on the kindest folks that they can find. And I hate that. I really do hate that. It's almost like a bully, right? Here's where the virtual love hack begins. I'm going to tell you this. If you are not prepared for what I'm about to say, I am giving you 2 seconds to change the channel. Okay. Well, in my opinion, when you are being controlled, everyone should be able to see the signs. But unfortunately, it can be years before someone actually leaves. And that in itself is terrifying. Now, subtle signs of controlling behavior is invisible. Sometimes, most times, to someone that is in love, especially. Or is it? Before I was married and dating, I was cautious. When I saw even small signs of controlling behavior, I ran the other way. So a controlling husband, wife, partner, or friend may try to maintain really plausible deniability so that it's easier to gaslight you. And we spoke about that in my last video. And that is a form of mistreating you. And we all know that. We're adults, but there's a lot of things that we don't see. Some of the more subtle signs of control can be giving or seeking more attention than usual. It can be threatening you with ultimatums. putting you down with things that don't go their way, or using banter as a disguise for underlying criticism in the presence of family or friends, which is embarrassing, making you feel unworthy and worthless. That's like the worst situation to be in. If it happened once, it will probably, for whatever reason, continue. And the person will probably want to use you again. So this is a cycle. It's a cycle that we see but we ignore. And when these more subtle signs become constant and repetitive, or a form of a pattern, then it's high time to take action. And either by speaking up, setting boundaries, distancing yourself through techniques like gray rocking, exiting the relationship, in other words. Right? So I will tell you why I am really excited about this video. For the people in the back, the ones that come in late all the time, we need to know the difference between a healthy relationship and a toxic relationship. And the signs that are leading up to the breakup, because that's what you should be preparing for. Questions that are being asked may trigger childish reactions that are invalid to valid questions. I always say that. Someone reached back to get you because they missed you. And I'm going to say it again. You both are not the same people. Why would you go back to controlling behavior? There's been some growth and paybacks in your head as to how things should have happened or played out. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. Some of the people that have been sending me messages, I just want to reach out to them and hug them. Because you got to be more cautious. Depending on if you were the one that was hurt or you were the one that hurt somebody, you might be the controlling one. Good news. There's not a lot of time in between to miss them. Meet someone new and compare. Don't do that. Here is your 20-second window. 20-second window right before you take them back. Here's your first. Number one, there are various reasons why some people try to control others. And sometimes these are too difficult to figure out right away, that is. So some potential causes of controlling behavior are low self-esteem, being micromanaged or controlled by someone else, traumatic past experiences, a need to feel in control, or a need to feel above someone else, right? The victim of inappropriate control is being controlled to preserve a relationship with someone who controls you. Consider whether they might be able to work, and any of the above. It influences you to do what they ask, because you don't want to rock the boat. So you're going to do whatever they say. Another thing to keep in mind is no one controlling relationship is worse than the other. They are equally bad. Equal. So control and manipulation are not love. It's imprisonment, and ultimately leading deep-rooted feelings of resentment. And that's down the line. You don't even realize it, but some controlling boundaries and behaviors can be recognized easily, while others take time to manifest. Easily. When the following examples become repetitive and form into a habit, it has become a controlling relationship without you even realizing it. So look at it like this. Psychologically, manipulation is evident, and it's a broad spectrum of mental and emotional abuse, because it looks like love because they want you to feel like it's love, and its damaging effects can be long lasting. It can last forever, even when you get to your next relationship. So that was 1 and 2. Number 3, psychologically, manipulation. Psychological and manipulation, they go hand in hand. Hand in hand. Have you ever had to tell someone you don't like playing mind games? Well, this might be how you feel. It might be really real. You might feel deep down inside, between you and this other person, that they are trying to play with you. They're trying to play with your mind. So you made it verbal. You gave it words. Intense words. Because jealousy, isolation from friends and family, judging how you speak, the silent treatment, constant criticism, guilt trips. Oh man, I could go on forever. Emotional blackmail, intimidation. All of these things play a part. And the sooner you realize that your relationship was doomed from the beginning, the sooner you'll get through this thing. The sooner you'll feel your emotions changing and moving on and accepting that starting over isn't so bad. So give yourself some credit. And I always mention this towards the end because you can say that you tried. You can actually say that it's not meant to work. There's no intermissions after a breakup. None. So keep going. And don't look back. Don't look back. If you find yourself in a controlling situation, always ask yourself, is this truly what I want? And am I doing it out of my free will? Is this something that I want? Like, is this something that I need? Like and subscribe to my page. Hit the notifications bell. And get ready for the next virtual love hack. I got you.